Welcome to Bragging Rights Season 3, Episode 29. We're recording on Tuesday this week, Tuesday the 11th of August. It's a little bit later in the week. Just want to start off by saying, as always, thank you to Comscarf and thank you to Tribal, the home of the pod. However you watch or view this, make sure you like and subscribe. And as always, if you're on YouTube, please hit the hype button. It does help us, and we want to see if we can become the #1 Rugby League Sports podcast in Asia.
We was 50th overall last week.
In Asia?
Everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Massive.
Wow.
Mr. Worldwide. So, I'll go around the room. Start over you. Jimmy, how are you?
Buzzing, mate. 2 job interviews this week. So next week I might not be buzzing if I don't get a job.
I was going to say, fail both.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, we got a win. So, happy.
Nice. Abel, how are you?
Pretty good.
2 words. Pretty good.
Ooh. He's settling into his role, isn't he?
Well, FC got a win, didn't
Getting
he?
brave, isn't he?
You know. Craig, how are you, mama?
Yeah, not too bad. Can't grumble.
Been grafting today, haven't you?
Well, do you call painting grafting? I know some people do, but
I do, mate.
you do.
Yeah, painting's like the worst thing
I
you
love
can ask
painting.
me
I
to
just
do.
don't like the cutting in. Give me a roller or a pad, and I'm away.
Pay my mate Tom. He does it. Done.
Fair enough.
Oh, I want his number. I don't do glossing, that's why I can't get him
No,
for.
Laura doesn't like gloss anyway, so we don't have gloss in the house.
Satin.
Satin.
Yeah. How's Josh?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Good.
I prefer when we don't ask him.
No, I like asking him.
Oh, okay.
Especially sometimes when he gets a bit over the top and starts elaborating on what he's done through the week, and people think, is this a fucking rugby podcast or is this a Josh podcast?
It's a mental health podcast.
It's in the future when I do write my autobiography, I'll be able to just AI and clip up all these. And I'll
Who's
probably get
buying
some
that?
good-
To all our fans in Asia.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
God, you have so little faith.
Oh God, there's no lemonade in that.
Speaking of people that have little faith, let's talk about the few fans that travelled to your game on Thursday night, and we'll start with a review of FC at Saints.
So much so that it's put me in the side stand. They weren't even behind sticks like normal.
It was good though when they had that photo with the trophy and there weren't any fans behind
It was
them.
like Catalan all over again, wasn't it?
Bless him. But yeah, we're going to start with you as we go in order. Nice review, nice win
I
for you
thought we were doing
boys.
Rovers because you two both got in first.
Oh, here we go.
Who played first?
You, that's why it's you.
Yeah, I was gonna say like.
Just cut them out for the.
I'm trying to tee you up.
Oh yeah. Anyway.
Fall ball.
Yeah, I was not one of them few fans that went, as I mentioned last week. I was quite frustrated as well, actually, because I even said last week, didn't I? Like, I had no one to go with.
It's a lame excuse.
It is a lame excuse, but also the secondary part of that was I'm not in a position to stand for 80 minutes. Physically can't do it. And then the first time ever since they moved to that stadium, they put us in seated area. We started watching the game, I was like, we haven't took a single fan. And then like after the game it pans across and they're all in the seating area. I was like, thanks for the heads up. But yeah, oh well. It was alright. I had some kebab whilst I was watching it. It made my day a bit better. But yeah, it was good. It was good to see. And it was weird for me watching it on the telly because you see that bit more, I think. Obviously with the replays and such, you know, you're not trying to see a screen that's 5 miles away and you can actually see a bit more detail. It was different but enjoyable at the same time. I liked it. And obviously with the way that we played, or the way that they didn't play, however you want to look at it.
It was one of them. It's hard to take too many positives out of it, even though for a win for us is a good thing more recently. But Saints do look very poor at the minute as well. But you still have to beat what's there, so job done, I guess.
Yeah, I still think, even though they didn't play amazing rugby, I still think it would be harsh to say that we didn't play well. I thought we did play well. I thought as a team, it looked like we clicked. Other than first sort of 10 minutes where we had that early try from them, that bouncing ball and the knock-on from Moy, the knock-on from Martin right in front of our sticks. Other than them errors sort of early on, I think after that, I think we really did kick on and it was a genuine good performance from us.
It's the first time I think that our packs actually got on top for a while. And I think, because even like, I mean, Huddersfield ain't a great side this year.
Well, you noticed as well.
But their pack was better than ours on the day. I don't care what the meters and all that stuff that we said as we discussed in that match. They were all over us down the middle, and it showed because especially the second half, we did nothing. Because we actually competed down the middle this week, we actually looked like we had some idea with ball in hand. And again, it's sort of slightly, what's the word? Saints didn't play great still, but like I say, you beat what's in front of you, that's all you can do. So
I think you're being fair on that, because you started horribly, but you're right, you can only play what's in front of you. Despite what Saints are offering, which is goal line defence is optional in their opinion, you still have to attack that and play that. And you're watching it and you're thinking, all right, Martin looks rusty, he's finding his feet, then he does something good, but there's a couple of mistakes, and the game did feel a bit in the balance for a portion of it, but on overall, it's one of the few times this year you've put a 60, 70 minute performance in. There's only been a couple of games like the Leeds one at the start of the season where you've managed to do that, so that's good for you guys to see. And you managed to maintain, get enough points over the board to keep the win convincing, regardless of how poor Saints were. So you've got to take them positives in it. Obviously, it's an absolute mindfuck for you guys, because it's like, regardless of what you're playing, thanks for doing that now when the season's over. Yeah. Thanks for giving us and the few travelling fans that little bit of hope and a little bit of glory and happiness for one game. But all it does is keep throwing up the question of, well, what happens next? What do we get this week? What do we get the week after? So I understand why you've got a mixed bag of emotions about it.
It brings up the question as well, as like, if that's what the squad's capable of, if we'd been turning performances like for the past 2 or 3 months since we've got a good chunk of our squad back, what could we done? Like, I'm not saying playoffs. I still think that's pushing it, but that might have been an outside chance. If a few results go your way in and around with like other teams, like maybe like Lee drop a game against Cass, or whatever that's kind of comes out of nowhere, you could still sneak a playoff, and that arguably would be success based on the fact that we didn't get playoffs last year. We get playoffs that year. There's some amount of build there, and instead we're going, well, why the hell can't we produce something closer to that?
The problem is
week in, week out.
Your benchmark, and we discussed this last year and the start of this year, but your benchmark for success for most reasonable FC fans was make the playoffs. That is a stepping stone from missing out by 1 spot last year to making it this year. So I don't think you're unfair to say a few results go either way, and that's what maybe that team could have been capable of.
Yeah, I don't think at any point we've played to a level where you could say we're a playoff team.
No.
But I do agree, if we were capable for the full season of playing to that level that we did this week or last week, then you could realistically see a nick in a play. A bit like Wakey last year. I don't think Wakey at any point last year played like a playoff team, but they did enough to nick that 6th spot, and it was proven in the playoffs. So they got knocked out first round, didn't they? I think the one thing that impressed me the most, conceding an early try, early error from Moy, early error from Martin, both near our goal line in our 20, you would be forgiven for thinking at that point, and I did think at that point, game's done. We ain't got the mental strength to recover from this. They're going to get another try, and we're going to go back into our shell. And to see that change almost in mentality of the entire squad was really refreshing, and it's something that we spoke about yesterday. I'm part of the Vice Presidents Association, and one of our guests was Joe Batchelor, and he mentioned it and how Andy Last is already starting to implement different things into the squad based on direction from Steve McNamara, who's doing as much as he can with Hull already whilst fulfilling his duties at Warrington. Bit like what Cartwright did with Grix in the lead up to him joining. He was still passing things on. I want the team doing this. I want to try and embed this early. And he was saying, some of the things that Lasty's trying to implement off the back of conversations with McNamara are, it's all effort-based stuff. We need to go back to that effort-based rugby, not let's go out and try and do this, that and the other. It's fundamentally go out there, dig in, and that's something that's been missing for majority of the season that you can see start creeping back in.
It's sad though that's not appeared to be there for a good chunk of the year, though, isn't it? 'Cause it sounds like the most basic of, like, especially for a professional team. Like, I'd kind of want that from a team I was playing for, let alone a professional team where it's your livelihood. You kind of feel like that should be a given.
Oh yeah,
Do you know, like it's the bare minimum for some.
100%. Like, and any sport at any level, if you're going to play it, if you're not willing to put in 101% as a minimum, like you said, why are you playing?
I think you've got to. It just adds more confusion for you guys as FC fans, because the reality is, you know, you're not touching the top 6 as they are currently. We go up down to 7th, and you've got Saints. You go to 8th, you've got Catalan, and you've now beat Saints. When you go down and you've lost to all them teams below that, so that just adds more question marks and more confusion to effort. And why is it there? Why is it not? Now, talk about Caesar. You know, I get frustrated with Caesar whining all the time. I always have. But I liked the guy when he was an NRL player. I liked him before he came over, and I've never seen him be good enough for long enough for you guys. He's real hit and miss. But when he knows what he's going for, so on Thursday night, when he spots a weak link, which he did on their left-hand side under Murphy, when he spots it and he repeatedly targets it and attacks it, it's not even that clever rugby, but it's just good half-back play to keep going to the same points where you know you're going to get points. And there's a reason why he got 3 tries down that side, why Barron got a hat-trick. And when he does that, he looks at one of the best half-backs available. And you understand why other teams want to sign him. But the question always comes back to, but where's the effort from him the previous week? And the previous week? And
against York,
yeah,
for
and
example.
all of a sudden it's that thing of all these if, buts and maybes, and I get that. And the reality is, that isn't where you are. You're still down at the bottom. You know, you're tied second bottom with Bradford up there on points difference. And it's now just more of a question for me of, yes, you won a game. Yes, you did it away from home. Yes, you did it against some controversial decisions, really. You know, we all saw SASA score.
No, movement.
Didn't look like it at first, and you see the second one, you think maybe it is. You managed to do it maybe against some bad decisions. These happen in rugby. But it just opens the wide question of, so again, I ask now, what happens for the rest of the season, and what does anything make up for everything else?
Let's not. I don't want to get too dragged into what happens for the rest of the season personally. You might, if you want to, let's do it. But for me, we got Cass, we've got Catalan, we've got Toulouse. They're all teams in that sort of space, sort of just below Saints, where I think if we can do that against Saints, we should be able to do it against them 3 teams, and we should be able to claw back some points and pull away from Huddersfield. But I really want to focus on what we did well, the players that stood out, Caesar being one of them for me, Martin and Barron, 2 players that really dug in really well, helped build from the back. Martin and Barron for me from the back, and to be fair, Briscoe as well to a point. Well, not to a point. I thought Briscoe was fantastic, but they started everything from the back. And you know, you mentioned about the pack getting on top. That was all built on really good, strong play out of backfield from our back line. And yeah, I agree. There's stuff we need to talk about maybe going into the future, but this is the game we need to review, and I really don't want to take away from and not give the players the credit that they deserve, despite the fact that they're doing it maybe as a one-off, who knows, but we're reviewing this game. Let's just give the players this week the kudos that they need.
For me, it's just at this point we're not winning anything of note this year.
We already have.
Give over. We ain't.
Mate, that trophy's going on that logo next year.
I was saying before, like, town was rammed on Sunday for the trophy parade. I don't know why I bothered going to the city centre.
Why did you comment? I knew it was trying to sneak it in.
Mate, let them try and sneak it in all they want. You know what, right? Genuinely, pulling that off against Saints, I can't remember the last time we won that trophy against Saints. And I know it's one of them trophies that's classed as like a minor thing. Like, you know, take the Clive Sullivan out of it, because it's viewed as a minor thing, but it's not really for us as all. And
so we're not putting the Clive Sullivan?
Yeah, you can if you want.
And the Roger Millward.
But the Roger Millward one.
It's changed now, isn't it? They've won one, they want it on the board, but
I'm kidding. We're not putting it on there. But it's one of them things where, for me, I can't remember the last time we won that. I can't remember the last time in an aggregate that we beat Saints over the season.
I do think the commentary said something that we haven't beat Saints at Saints for something like 10 goals in a row or something.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've actually beat them.
And we've had to wait for them to be shit, but you guys had to wait for us to be shit to do that against us. So you know what? It's 6 or half.
I don't think that's strictly true, is it?
Yeah, it is.
No, for me,
You can have that.
the rest of the season is just about performances for me. If you play a bit more, if you play more closer to that Saints performance, if that's your benchmark, if you're on or around that level of performance for the rest of the season, then fair enough. That's like a decent showing. It doesn't change the fact that the season's not as good as it maybe could have been. It doesn't change the fact we've had a really bad patch throughout the middle of the season when we haven't been ravaged by injuries, so you can't even say that's an excuse. We've had a large portion of our squad for the middle portion of this year and done very little with it compared to the start of the year where we're very down on numbers by comparison. So it's just kind of one of them like making the best of it. But for me, ultimately, results ain't going to make any difference this year now, so it's about good performances.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think there's much to say more than that, to be honest, about the season as a whole. You know, the season as a whole from pre-season, it starts at pre-season. I think pre-season was just not great for us. I think we had 14 players out injured or having surgery or whatever. We had Cartwright coming into pre-season late due to personal issues down under, which is, you know, it is what it is. I agree that with him staying down under a little bit longer with what happened personally. You're meant to build from that. It's difficult. Then you start the season, you lose Asiata, you lose Price, you lose, you know, vast amounts of other players. Then you lose Cartwright, and everything's constantly going downhill. I'm just happy if, like you say, we can finish the season, not necessarily riding the crest of a wave, but building our way back up and building our way into next season. Like I'll stick with what I said already. The season's done. If the players that are staying and the players that are leaving can put in this level of effort, not necessarily performance. I'm not going to judge them on performance as such. I'm going to judge them on effort. That's what I always judge the team on. If we can carry on with this level of effort, and even if we get beat, I don't, you know, I'm not going to say I don't care if we get beat, but if the performance is there from now to the end of the season, I'll be ending the season a little bit happier. So
I'm chuckling.
You're always chuckling.
Not only have you gone on to like a me-style rant there, but it came off the back of you saying, we're not talking about the rest of the season, it's just this game. You then did a review of the start of the season till this game, and then went into the post-game. Like,
I have diagnosed, treated ADHD.
No,
I took my tablets for a while.
We don't do excuses.
It's got to be an excuse. You'll use excuses in a few
No,
years.
we use caveats.
When Willie Peters has left and you start losing more than you're winning like you used to, you'll start using excuses. Oh, well, Willie Peters left us. And now he's got a godlike team in Australia. He has got a godlike team on the build down under, hasn't he?
Don't know, we're focusing on this week.
Not the rest all next season.
Which match this week though? Ooh. Only time I can crack that one.
You've got a few to preview, haven't you? But
Finish off your section, don't worry about us.
now let Abel do it now that he's taking a sip of his drink.
I've only got two.
That's alright, mate.
Are we going to start their section then as well, or?
Why?
Well, they started ours, so.
Yeah, well, it's Josh in it.
Can you stop using the umbrella term there?
Okay,
Yeah,
you,
it's
you, have,
Josh.
you have been fairly
It's
quiet
Josh.
today. Josh, stop being a...
It's not like he's just fairly quiet, it's just he appears fairly quiet in comparison to Josh.
Yeah.
To be fair, I didn't really have much to say on the Hull game. I watched it and...
Good.
Pot kettle over there.
No, it's just good that you watched it, I appreciate it.
Laura didn't enjoy it because it's...
Laura enjoy anything?
No, well, she likes sleeping.
Does she watch this?
No.
Ah, good.
We only watched it because we wanted to count, you know, the old faithful that travel in any kind of weather, to count how many was in, and then obviously, as you say, not enough arrived to fill the stand, so they had to move them to the small stand.
I think it was always meant to be like that.
Well, then
I think
why
they'd
didn't
already
you, why
planned.
didn't you go then?
Because I didn't know.
Okay.
Sounds like an excuse.
It's a lot
And
of
I didn't have
excuses
anyone to
today,
go
isn't
with.
it? Oh, right, I see.
But yeah, anyways, as I was saying, just to bring it back round, get us back on track. I watched it and I thought Saints were very, very poor. I hadn't seen a Saints performance that poor for a long time. Not that I watch them all the while. So
Did you watch them against Toulouse a few weeks ago?
No, didn't watch that.
There you go.
We
That's probably
was
why.
here.
Yeah, oh,
I
yeah.
was recording
true.
that day, but seen bits of it. But as a whole performance, I've not seen Saints play that bad. Obviously, I don't want to take anything away from Hull because that was a much improved performance from you guys, and the credit you've been giving them today is thoroughly deserved based on what I'd seen, especially your backs, the way they come out of backfield. I was going to say on that, but it's come back round to it now, so it's all good. We've been blessed at Rovers, like not to bring it onto Rovers, but when you have that coming out of backfield, it doesn't half set you on a roll, and your guys got it right on Thursday night. So
yeah, definitely did. Definitely did. So, have we got any results to cover?
Don't think I've seen it.
No. Okay, fair enough. It's difficult to find results in it, so
yeah, it's stupid.
it's Dean's job as well. What's he doing in bloody not in England?
Oh, actually, tell a lie.
Has he sent him?
Yeah.
Oh, what a
sent Mary
guy!
today,
I
I've not
love
seen
Dean.
it.
Dean's great. Hey, don't you think he's just so good at his job? Nah, I'll leave him.
Two results. Ladies team drew 24-24 with Sheffield Eagles, and the wheelchair team lost 84-24 at Wigan.
That's because their best player is on holiday with Dean.
Bragging Rights is proudly sponsored by Comscaf. Hull's own Comscaf have been keeping things safe and steady for over 30 years, providing professional scaffolding services nationwide. If you need a team you can trust for your next project, big or small, head to comscaf.co.uk or give them a call on 01482 782 181.
Is it us?
Well, it's not us, is it?
I'm real organised. I'm still writing down the predictions, so I'm trying to do it in the little gaps that we have. Our game, job done, basically.
Job done.
At the risk of basically, we did what we had to do. At the risk of sounding repetitive from what I said last week, it was again a performance of, like you've alluded to before, Josh, where a team outside the top six don't have enough for us, no matter how we are playing. In the end, it turned out we played very well. We sort of eked out the first sort of 20 minutes until Jez's solo brilliant try. Cass were on top for majority of that 20 minutes, but even though they was on top, it didn't really feel like they was going to score. Like, I know they didn't in the end, and it's easy to say with hindsight, but at the game, it didn't genuinely feel like that. Like, it felt like they were winning the territory battle, but not threatening us enough to actually break us down, and obviously that proved right in the end. So,
well, there was a question that was sent in that we haven't got in the comments. It actually came from our dad, didn't it? That we aren't included.
Oh, again.
But it was the point about, do we focus too much on stats? And he was saying that after the first 15 minutes of our game, John Wells on commentary said, 15 minutes in, Rovers have missed 14 tackles, Cass have missed 0. But they hadn't scored. They didn't score for a full game. And it goes back to when we had Paul Cook as a guest on the pod saying that people misunderstand how Rovers defend. We've discussed this previously. And in fact, the way missed tackles are reported in stats are to do with broken contact, not breaks, not doing anything like that. And so when you see that, it does reflect what you're saying, that it felt like Cass were maybe on top in the opening 20, but it amounted to nothing. And as Rovers fans and watching on TV and watching at the ground, you didn't feel as though they was going to score. And so, you know, we are answering that question of, are stats not viewed properly? I think stats can be interpreted many different ways, but I think it tells a story there. I think what's more interesting to me off the back of that is that when they did the full-time stats for the overall game, Rovers didn't concede a single line break in that game against Castleford. Now, you're like, oh, okay, well, that's impressive. You know, you're not going to concede many tries if you do that. Rovers actually have conceded the fewest line breaks in the Super League this year. So I know there will have been some bad performances, Leeds in Vegas and things like that, where we've conceded several. But as we're shoring up the defence and we're doing the way we do, where we crab round and we let people bounce off the contact and it classes a missed tackle, we don't concede that many line breaks. And so all of a sudden you go, we've only conceded 71 line breaks this year, which is the fewest in the Super League. And you go, so Rovers defence actually might be getting back up there again. And for me, what I saw in the game, despite it being against Cass, no offence to them, is us continuing to build when I'm saying about are we building at the right time of the season, because you don't get many nil-ins in the Super League. This was the only one this weekend.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, you don't get many all the time. We've done it. You have to play what's in front of you. Say that for every team and every week. And in all fairness, it was a pretty good performance. One that would say again that Rovers didn't get out of second gear. But the stats are backing us up, making 235 more metres in the first half. And all of a sudden you walk away, 40 odd points win. You're looking good. You're still doing it without Mikey Lewis. And you go, yeah, I'm feeling a bit more confident now. I feel as though we're cementing our place in the sixth. And yeah, I was overall pleased, and I can't say much more. I was pleased to see Budgie get another intercept. He seems to be finding his form. Jez looks like he's still the best hooker in the league for me again. I thought Mini, for his 300th career appearance, had a great knock. It just feels good, and I also wondered if, as well, with the decisions we was making from a squad point of view, was we making some key decisions for squad rotation ahead of this tough period coming up, where we now play these 3 games in a short period. Players like Desiree, being the 18th man, doesn't get any minutes. We'll talk in the preview later that he's not in.
Did come on.
Did he in the end?
I'm pretty sure he came on because I said to Abel, actually, not you, senior, that I was like, is that Desiree? I thought he was 18th man, so I don't know if we'd had a HIA by foul play or not, but I'm pretty sure Desiree came on. I might be wrong because I did have a few sherbets, but
I haven't put a note on it, but it could have been. What I'm saying is that having him as the 18th man is that game plan. I mean, you'll see when we talk about the preview later that coming up this Thursday, he's not even in the squad. And I wonder if that was part of that game plan, started planning to see these tough games in a short period we've got coming up. And then overall, it just lent itself to me for a very methodical, sort of unflinching win. That, yeah, it's Cass, let's not get overexcited, but do a job that's in front of you. And it was just a bit more like the Rovers of last year.
They're the most frustrating games for me. Like as a neutral in watching that. It's obviously great for you guys to have a team that's putting a team like Cass to the sword in the way that you did. But God, it's boring, isn't it? Like,
not for us either.
No, exactly like I said, for you guys it's not, but like for a neutral to be watching that, you shouldn't be having games like that. And I think it lends to the issue that we've got with, in my opinion, the issue that we've got with expanding to 14 and making the talent pool stretch. It's not good for the game, but it's obviously great for you. I was tuning out quite a lot during that game.
I can't say it was my favourite to watch. I would have much preferred to watch Leeds and Wakey that was on exactly the same time. But
yeah, well, I managed to catch the end.
But I didn't catch it until the next day. But,
and look, and I get that. It's a sacrifice you make because we like to have an input to each other's games, but come on, lads, I've had to watch your games for like the past 2 years.
Yeah, I'm not saying I won't watch it, but I'm thinking from a neutral perspective, trying to draw fans in and such.
The only thing I would say is I kind of agree with you in terms of the talent pool dilution, but we have always had blowout scores. Even when Super League has been more stacked, you've still had some team that's just on fire one day, turn up against a team that's not there and they put 50 on them. Do you know, it happens.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any stats out there to say it's happening more regularly or whatnot, but
I'm also not trying to take away from what you did, because again, you can only play the team that's in front of you, and your guys managed to absolutely blow them out the park. Cash should have had more to, should have been able to put more into that game and at least get over the line.
Obviously, they had a lot of disruption last week as well, with Ryan Carr being suspended in the lead up to the
Ryan
game.
Carr being away with personal issues.
And then you've got their own fans booing one of their own players to do with all the rumours going around and things that have happened in that situation. It wasn't a pleasant night for Cass. And just on your point, Abel, I don't know if the stats would back it up, but I would say, my own point of view, watching a lot of rugby, particularly this year, we haven't seen that many massive blowouts. And what we have seen is that when certain teams of the same level get together, we do tend to see high scoring because defence is less impressive, but there's a lot of points on the board. You would have to ask different segregations of people. Your hardcore rugby purist, do you like it? No. Your casual observer, I don't mind, it's Huddersfield and FC and they both score 25 points each. Whatever you want, it's always going to be different for someone's opinion. It doesn't change the fact though that we are diluting our sport by having too many teams in. And Castleford have had such an up and down year. They are in contention for that most inconsistent team with you guys, maybe Catalan as well. So they didn't have a great day of it, we did for me, and I'm just pleased. And I tried to look at it from that point of view of, is this carrying on those steps for we're trying to build into the playoffs? And I think we showed that. We had less silly mistakes, we was more consistent, we was more clinical when we needed to be. We weathered a good start from them at the beginning where, it felt like they was a bit more on top, we didn't concede. I'm pleased overall. Caveat, yeah, it's Cass, I get that. But you're aware, what can you do?
I kind of wonder if that maybe, you like talking about game plans, Josh, but did that fall under Willie Peters' game plan? So you look at Wakefield's now last 3, but before that, previous 2, they were in the fight at half-time. 10-0 against us, 18-24 against Warrington, and 18-10 against Wakefield the week before that in the much maligned rivals round. So close to the other one. But, they're in that fight. Was that maybe part of his game plan, say, weather it out, if it comes, take your chance, and then second half we'll go out and we'll do what we do. But again, it does seem like we're building, like you've said pretty much nailed a lot of it on the head there with, we're less silly mistakes, players coming back into form, and everything just seems to, I don't want to say everything seems to sort of be coming up good for us at the moment, but it seems to be building that way, and it is pleasing to see. So
I think I agree, and on your point with Willie's game plan, Willie Peters' biggest frustration for most of this season, particularly the last sort of 8 to 10 rounds where we've had a mixed bag of results. We are good on the form table, but there's been a couple of really bad performances in there or less than favourable performances. His biggest frustration has been that lack of respect for the ball, staying on with the basics, doing the right thing. Now, Rovers are this hybrid team where 2.5 years ago, people started to like us, we was called the entertainers. We enjoyed that sort of, no one really feared us in terms of winning anything, but a lot of other clubs enjoyed watching us because we brought something nice to the game and we threw the ball around. And then we challenged a bit, and then last year we came in, we won it all, and we managed to blend that hard work, that do the basics right, with a bit of flair, but we didn't have as much flair as the previous year. And then we've come into this year, and yeah, we're disliked because you've won it all, it's Toys Poppy syndrome, as we spoke about previously, but all of a sudden, the team's felt stuck at times. We've become, is the famous word, clunky. Because on the one hand, we try and be expansive and throw the ball around, and then we try to go back to basics, and we seem to mess it up whatever we do. This performance, whilst it sounds a bit of an overkill because it's only Cass, was probably one of our better ones this season where we've got it right. We've thrown the ball at the right times with the Hiku try and stuff like that, where we've broke the line, Jez finding the right grubber for the opening try, but we've also done the basics right. And Willie, I think, will have been really pleased, not just for the free breakfast, but also for the fact that we did it right and then built on it, as you've said, coming to the second half and you're dominant. So there's not really much to be mad about.
My only observation on the game from the Rovers' perspective is it seemed like very much a last year's Rovers performance, almost like that suffocating performance where Cass just can't get out with their own 30 sometimes. They're constantly just returning the ball to you and then you're straight back in their half. My only observation there was it felt like it was reffed like a last year's game as well to some degree, because there's been all this talk about ruck speed this and ruck speed that this year, and it all seems to have just gone by the wayside again. And
classic RFL,
yeah, it is. And
except at Magic Weekend where they give everyone a 6 again every set.
And obviously for you guys, that almost suits your squad as it stands right now, because it allows you to play that almost like suffocation game.
It's not almost, it is. We like a fast ruck.
Yeah.
And when teams are allowed to slow it down by the referees, which is obviously what they're focusing on this season, I'm not saying it's a negative thing. When they're allowed to do that by the referee, then you don't see the best version of Rovers. It's like the first... Earlier on in the season, I said, it's no surprise that Rovers' 2 best performances so far, I think this was after like round 6, have come when Liam Moore's been the ref. Because he lets the game flow, because he's got that experience, he allows a slightly quicker ruck, and our 2 best performances came on the back of that.
Any team in Super League, if you want to be up there and competing, Wigan did this really well prior to the new rules this year, but it stands true even before the new 6-game rules. You need to be quick with ball in hand and a fast ruck going forward. You need to be able to slow the ruck down when you're defending and do it without conceding penalties. This year, the opening game, under the new rules, we couldn't handle the new laws around the ruck. We got beat by York. Wasn't just for that reason, but that was a big reason. We've had other performances this year where we've struggled with that. And I agree to your point, Abel. It did feel that on this game, it wasn't that we was allowed to slow the ruck down.
It wasn't anything egregious that I saw.
No, it just felt as though we was very dominant, and because we were so dominant, we got that extra half a second. Because and we wasn't doing anything, nefarious, like we didn't have hands in the face or an elbow, we wasn't hand around the ball or laid on, we was just dominating quite well defensively, so you're allowed a bit of an extra half second to get up. This is how Wigan did it so well for so years, because they was dominant in defence. And because we was allowed to get away with that, then when we attacked them, he wasn't giving them daft 6 agains, but we were just getting up and playing quickly, and all of a sudden, you watched a more free-flowing rugby game both ways. It's just unfortunate that one team was on top of it and one team wasn't. For a neutral, for us it was great.
Yeah, not much else to add. Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered everything. So just a roundup of what we've got. So the women's, they beat Castleford 36-0. So I wonder if they got a free breakfast as well. And the PDRL side, for some reason the game was played in Blackpool. I'm not 100% sure why. I'm sure somebody...
there was a festival.
Festival, thank you. They beat Hull. Dean did send you that one. 22 points to 4. It was the last game of the season. Rovers PDRL side won 3 out of 4 and finished top of the Development League. So big congrats there.
Wonder why Dean excluded that one from his text there.
And he put 8-4-24 against Wigan. So
I think it's one of them things where, like, our foundation, I don't think they're very good at sharing results, and it's something that we've encountered both sides of the river in terms of the foundation teams getting their.
Well, I've been speaking with Matt Felmingham about it on Twitter, so hopefully we will do better moving forward. But I'm sure Matt will
for the next
regardless.
3 or 4 weeks. Mind you, actually,
Maybe.
didn't you say that season's done?
The PDRL season's done now, yeah.
Be better next year, both foundations.
Correct.
Tribal Kingswood is proud to be the home of the Bragging Rights podcast. Whether you're looking for fantastic food, great drinks, or the perfect place to watch live sport, Tribal has you covered. Catch every Super League fixture, all the Premier League football matches, major darts tournaments, blockbuster boxing events, and so much more. And it's not just about the sport. With regular pub quizzes, family days, and guest DJs taking place throughout the year. And if you're a Hull FC or Hull KR season ticket holder, simply show your season pass to receive 15% off your entire food and drink bill. For great food, great sport, and a fantastic atmosphere, make Tribal Kingswood your next destination.
Let's have some rugby league news from around the world, gentlemen.
News from around the world.
Let's start clipping that.
Yeah, we're good, wasn't it?
Yeah, just get rid of it.
You wouldn't be shocked to hear that we're going to start on transfer news, because there's been a few in recent days.
That's it.
There has. Yeah. We'll start over at Warrington. We've announced the signing of 2 young forwards, Toby Crosby and Mitchell Prest, both New South Wales players over in Oz. A couple that have featured as 18th man and had a couple of friendly games, but haven't actually put any time in that I could see in NRL games. But it seems like 2 very good players to develop and bring over to strengthen up their forward pack. They'll come in from 2027. Saints announced the signing of Solomona Fatape for Catalans from 2027.
Bastards.
One that I'm sure most fans will be aware of, given that FC very much seemed in the hunt for it, and a lot of reports are using terms like FC picked to the post and things like that. So that is a good signing by all accounts, and many around the league agree.
You mean they couldn't make a punt out of Fatape or whatever his name is?
I'm sure there was a few, but I thought I'd do my own. No, and then finally, won't be surprised, but probably a contentious one. Davy Litton announced just last night that he will sign for Wakefield from 2027. One that's been rumoured for a few weeks, but officially the announcement came out around the same time as the Fatape one, and one that I'm sure, and I know in fact, has brought some mixed reactions from Hull FC fans, but in fact fans from around the league as well.
Yeah, it is. It's one of them where you speak to one person and they think it's a ridiculous thing that we've let him go. Speak to me and you not necessarily of that opinion. So.
Care to clarify?
I think if he's not a bad player by all accounts. He's not. I don't think Davy Litton's the type of player that's going to get FC out of where we currently are, and I think he's a good Super League player. He's not a top Super League player, And if a team comes in and offers you 6 figures for a player like that, snap their hand off. I also think there's some very strong rumours about wages and how much he's going to get versus how much he was getting, and I think he asked for a pay rise and we weren't willing to match or get close to what they've offered.
Is there any truth in any of the figures being bandied about that you've heard internally that you can?
Not that I can say.
Okay, that's fine.
But I am not in disagreement.
£1 million.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Like I say, I think when you get offered that sort of money for a player like David Litton, who is, like I say, a good player, you've got to take it.
I don't know. I'm not seeing what that transfer fee does in the age of we're already bankrolled by a rich guy. So what difference does a transfer fee make?
So what we'll do is we have got a question on this, so we'll hold the point. And we'll discuss it in the comments section in a bit more detail then, especially on the financial side. I think from a pure player point of view, we've got to turn to the fact that Wakefield are losing Cam Scott, he's going back to Bradford. The understanding on that is that Wakey couldn't match what Bradford are offering him. What Cam Scott's been able to do in that Wakey side is develop into a top-class centre that he wasn't seen as before this season or maybe the season before. And a big part of that is obviously Darryl Powell's coaching, but also they have a very, very famous and good long-term centre in Michael Shenton coaching there. And I think that maybe he's the person to develop Litton so that you look back and go, yes, he could be that top 6 player. Maybe that some of you agree he is now, some don't agree is. I would say it's fair that there's a lot of questions, particularly from across the river on our side, for letting go a homegrown academy product, especially the amount of banter that's flown around. But let's discuss the financial side in the comments. Moving on, we'll stick with FC though. Former Hull FC legend Liam Knight, former Hull FC player Liam Knight has actually signed for the North Sydney Bears this week in the New South Wales Cup. This is part of his journey to get back into an NRL side, and he'll be looking to try and get some playing time going into the pre-season for next year. Hopefully get some chances to jump up from the feeder team and resurrect his career down there. So we'll watch and see how he gets on, because we knew that he left you guys for a multitude of reasons. One of them was wanting to be back home. Whatever you think of the guy, we wish him the best down under. Super League legend Tommy Makinson has announced his retirement from the sport. Worth mentioning this, a guy that's been around for a very long time. He's made, at the current time of talking, he's still got the rest of the year to go, but he has made over 380 appearances. He has 5-time Super League winners' rings. In his time, he's made 241 tries, 310 conversions, and 1 drop goal, which is quite interesting. Actually came in a grand final. But all the best to him. One of them players that's represented country and club really well, and one of those players that for me personally is one from sort of me being a similar age, watching him play and seeing how he gets on, and he's now moving on, so wish him all the best as well. And then finally, some sad news to end on, but Peter V'landys has urged us all to slow down and proceed with some caution regarding the NRL investment deal. In fact, he said that those at the top of both tables on the Super League and the NRL side are meeting, but he actually, and I quote here saying, they are having trouble making the figures work when talking about the potential investment. There is a lot in this. The NRL just had a massive TV investment. We're losing our TV investment. There is a much bigger salary cap. There is a question about the number of teams that we have in our top flight league. There is a big question, a lot of quotes flying around about the money that we pay players that we consider squad numbers 20 to 30, making that a sustainable living. There's a lot to be discussed, and I think that what I would say here is, maybe I'm wrong, but it's telling me that we maybe need to wait quite a bit longer before we're going to hear anything of a deal being announced. After initially being hopeful this is something that could happen perhaps this summer, it maybe won't be happening as quick as we thought.
I read this and instantly felt like it was V'landys telling the truth in terms of the figures are a little bit different, but I read this and think maybe he's put this out there to try and get a bit of pressure put on the RFL from our side of things, as to say, fucking let them in, like take what you can get, because I wouldn't be surprised if there's people like Wood at the top of the RFL saying we want half your deal, like something daft, and then you've got to factor in the fact that all the Super League clubs have a say in this as well, as far as I'm aware, in terms of how much money they want to let go of their level of control that they've got, which is a ridiculous level anyway. it is what it is. Hopefully it gets over the line, but if it doesn't, we'll struggle through.
Yeah.
Do this podcast for 3 more years until the game goes under.
Well, I mean, if Super League goes part-time, we go part-time. That's all we can say. So. That
Podcast
was,
every 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was monthly. Rugby League news from around the world today.
Comment section then. We will start with a question from Matthew Sunman, regular commenter.
Yes, I like him. He comments a lot. It's good.
He does comment a lot, maybe a bit too much. I think he's a red and white. Anyway, question, obviously. What do you think about a 60-second limit on all video ref interactions? If it's not a clear and obvious error by the official, the decision stands. With captain's challenges, we already have inconclusive, so that's covered.
Thing is, same as in football. Sorry to interrupt you there, Abel, before you got going. But the clear and obvious, it's subjective. You don't want them. No. So it depends on what person's video referee, because how they see it might not be the same way as somebody else sees it. So for me, that's the clear and obvious thing. It's a very grey area, but I do agree with the 60-second clock. I think it'll just speed up the game as where it is at the moment, and I think it'll be better for the game. And if they can't decide after up to 60 seconds whether it's right or wrong, then you're clearly not going to find anything. 60 seconds is a long time.
Well, you say that about the clear and obvious being subjective, but a lot of the rules that are implemented already are subjective, and they get applied differently by different refs. So I don't think it makes much difference, and I would be in favour.
I think an upper limit of 6 seconds is reasonable. To me, sometimes obviously the tools let the whole thing down. As far as let's see this camera. Oh, now stop it there, and they can spend 20 seconds dicking about before they actually get to the right bit of footage that they want to see. And I don't understand why. I'm probably just me misunderstanding how complicated it is behind the scenes, but why are all the cameras synced up so they can just effortlessly switch between them? So when they move 20 seconds on camera 2, when they then switch to camera 3, it's then 20 seconds along from.
It's not only that,
footage,
they don't have control. The video.
Yeah, they're asking someone else to do it, and that seems like a waste of time in itself.
Doesn't it?
Early season, maybe this season, maybe last season, I can't remember which, but I remember at one point when the video ref started, they used to have, and it'd show like a table of like 9 cameras, and all the cameras were there. And like, if they'd have done that for SASA this week, they would have clearly been able to see that camera on the touchline has got the best view. Let's just look at that, and you can clearly see he gets the ball grounded and it's on the line. They didn't even look at that camera when making the decision, at least from what we saw.
Showed it afterwards.
But they showed it afterwards. So yeah, I agree. Like, show the referee all of the views, and then say, which one do you want to see? We'll go with that.
Make it like a CCTV system. Put, like you just said, all the screens, all he's got to do is click a mouse. And click on that screen and it'll bring up a big screen.
Because I think if the tools are better, then your time comes down anyway.
Absolutely.
And then obviously that inadvertently solves the problem of decisions overrunning anyway. But then, like I say, I would still say 60 seconds is plenty of time to review the stuff. If you still can't make a decision and it's still not clear, then decision on field stands.
So look, I think that 6 seconds is fair. I think we've had this conversation before. Many people have, not just on this podcast, that would you rather have no video ref reviews, or would you rather have them? You can't have it either way. The same when they changed the rule at the start of this year of the ref now doesn't make that decision unless he's confident it's a no try. He just says try and then it's checked in the background. You're always going to have people that don't like it. I think anything to speed up the game. There's been a lot of complaints this year about some games that have really overrun. The most egregious one was when Rovers overran when Wigan were playing in Paris. So people couldn't go and watch that spectacle even on TV to start. So that's got to help. For me, it's a bit of a broader question in what are the things killing the game? I think the slowness of these decisions and the poor quality of cameras definitely. So 6-second interaction helps. If you're going to look at rule changes and things for next year, for me, the captain's challenge is more important. Let's get that to one and done, whether you're successful or not. Let's not have this hanging over. It's a stupid thing. People abuse it. People use it the wrong way. People use it to slow the game down at the end of the game. One and you're done. So then you really only use it if you're confident that you want to use it. That'll do me. And then also, I'd seen one online that I agreed with that I think might come a talking point in future. sorting out these 6 agains. A 6 again maybe shouldn't get you a 6 again. It should be infringement, tackle stays the same. That's an infringement on fair tackle, it's fair tackle again. Rather than every time it's 6 again. And then that way, you're not getting someone to march upfield and you're sat there going, what's that for? What's that for? They've scored off the back of 3 6 agains and I only saw something wrong in one of them. But if you go, infringement, it's still fair tackle, it's still first tackle. That, for me, might be a way that we can still give people a benefit without giving them a whole other 6 tackles. Because in the past, that would be a penalty that stopped the game. So I think that's more important than trying to skim us down to 60 seconds. So
Suppose that works. Sorry.
I just think that's maybe something to look at. For me, that's more important than the 60 seconds on video ref.
I suppose it's the same with the 7 tackle set. You kick it dead, you get a 7 tackle set. It's just a little bit of a bonus, like an extra tackle in a set. You've seen how pivotal that could be.
Yeah.
I think that should change. So my
if
theory,
it's fair versus so far out, like they're doing
yeah,
Any tackle set.
no, I think say if you put you just sling a boot downfield from say 40 out, and it goes dead. Well, that's shit play. That's bad kicking. It's shit. If you are 5 metres out and you put a little, like a genuine grubber through or a dink over, you're a genuine attempt to score a try or pin a man back and it goes out, I don't think that should be 7 tackles. I don't think you should be punished for what is actual, decent play, but bad tactical play, which is just kicking the ball downfield and trying to get it away.
I massively disagree.
Well, I don't care.
And I'll tell you for why. Because, first of all, it's really hard to try and determine what's the genuine attempt and what isn't. You can't just say if it's behind the 30, it is one, but if it's inside the 30, it don't count. Because what's the point then? That's just, again, where you kick it from. But when you've got someone putting a dink in, putting a grubber in or whatever, it's a battle. How skillfully is the player putting the kick in? How skillfully are players to get to that ball? How does the nerve of the defenders hold if they're shepherding it out? And we've seen some brilliant tries where people try and shepherd it out. Someone gets around, puts a hand down. Sometimes when someone decides they're going to pick it up and they manage to break through and they don't have to do a dropout. And I think adding that risk element there, if you never get anything for it, I just think people might just always be, do you know what? We're winning the game. I know I can just put a grubber through, it's definitely going dead because we've got time to get back and get set. So I don't think that works, but I understand your point on it.
Yeah, there's different ways and means in which the ball might go dead. And I get it, it's never going to be a perfect thing. I just think right now it's definitely not a perfect thing. So, yeah, there's so many rules that we could tweak and change.
I know, let's move on because I've led us off down the wrong
That's a whole 5 other podcasts,
that is.
Changing the rules.
Right, Bazza Kingston. Is the sale of Davy Litton a sign that FC's owners are trying to recoup some money that has been wasted on injury-prone players? Is this a sign of things to come for FC?
From an outside looking in, I don't think it is trying to recoup money. If what we've read is true and Wakefield offered him more than what Hull did, then fair play to him. That's not to do with the owners. That's down to Davy Litton making the best out of what he can out of a short career.
Don't disagree, but if it's also true that Litton went back to the club and said you don't have to match the offer.
That's why I said it. I didn't want to bring that up.
For me, if take it away from Rugby League, don't call this Hull FC that have done this. If I look at a business where the 2 major investors in the last month have made significant financial changes to the way it's run, made themselves the key the creditors, where the credit sits with them, and you can go onto Company's House, you can look at what they've done in the last few months, and then I see him start to sell players like this for 6-figure sums reported. Any other business in the world, you'd call it a fire sale. At the same time, when rumours about SASA being up for sale, we know about potentially that Caesar's going. So the one way to look at it, you look at it as a rugby club and you go, offloading reasonable to big contracts or just offloading contracts so that McNamara can build his own team. And that makes sense. So on that front, yeah, it does. But then you flip it to the other side where you're told that we're one of the richest clubs, meant to be the richest or one of the richest in the Super League, second most rich apparently, and then you see him going, no, we'll always accept the 6-figure sum. And it just doesn't ring true to me. I think there's much bigger questions in terms of letting Litton go and whether it's right or wrong, but from a financial point of view, there's something not right for me. If they're changing around their investment into the company to protect their own assets, making them the key creditors, and then at the same time they're accepting money for homegrown talents for a player who I would say is the most enthusiastic FC player you've got, the one that kisses the badge, the one that celebrates every knock on every tackle, the one that you would say when you watch that team embodies Hull FC and has put the effort in for pretty much the last 2-3 years when you've been rubbish. And so I think there's more to it other than, oh yeah, we just accepted 100 grand because 100 grand was a good amount of money.
I don't think it's necessarily trying to recoup money, because like I say, if they are as rich as they claim to be, then I don't think 100 grand is very much in the grand scheme of things. I think that FC have been kind of shown up by Saints on how to react when a club comes after your or one of your star youngsters. In the Wakey went sniffing around Robertson, they got told to bugger off, and I kind of feel like we should have done the same with Litton, because let's be real, he's not shown that he's necessarily a superstar yet. Not every player has to be a superstar. Also, at the end of the day, he's been playing in poor FC sides, and I genuinely think going to Wake, especially the way they're performing, I think he'll rip it up next year. And I think he'll make a real words, and we'll sit there and go, oh yeah, great, we've got 100 grand, great. So now we're going to have to find a centre to replace Litton. Saints have gazumped us on the other centre we were interested. So we've now got 2 starting centres to find for next year. I just don't think it doesn't seem like smart squad management to me.
Well, we had this discussion on Friday briefly, didn't we? Because your old man, who goes on the coach with me, him and Colin were like, well, what about, was it Romano and
Hardacre are the 2 other ones that you'd argue would looking at centre spots.
Yeah. And Jimmy came back with a great response saying, look, one's a second row and one's not good enough. Basically.
I mean, I think we've sort of said on and off that Hardacre just looks like he's lost a yard or 2 this year. The brain still works, but obviously eventually the body fails. And for somewhere like centre, that extra yard or 2 of pace is crucial to, if you do mess up, you can make it back. And that seems to have gone. Still got the brain, still got all the effort and everything else. So more than happy to see him move
into the seconds.
In like a Watkinsy style,
so natural
into
progression
the pack,
in it from centre into
because he's still got the hands. He's not deficient in defence or anything like that. And Romano looked good at the start of the year, but he was always kind of square pegging around all. If you've got aspirations about being anywhere decent in Super League, you're not fitting square pegs around holes for your stars.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
So.
You're gonna.
Sorry, available in Jimmy swap seats.
I know. I do think you're going to struggle though, because you're going to get a real mixed bag. There's emotion in it right now because it's fresh and it's new. And there's, why was he out on Thursday night, not playing with an ankle injury, but he had to pass a medical? You're going to hear all these rumours. It's all emotion for these first couple of weeks. We'll find out next year how he develops there and what you guys do. But there are obviously key concerns at centre position. This concerns a lot of positions. You don't know what McNamara's plan is. You don't know how long that team's going to build to gel together, what that team looks like. What I would say is that as a club, I think you've got a real mismatch between perhaps where you should be aiming and where perhaps some of your fans expect you to be. And it's because last year you missed out on the playoffs by 1. This year you're not going to come close. And the reality is, of course, that should be your aspiration. But you should start building a club that works its way up the league in segments. And we said this at the start of last year and the start of this year. 2-3 years to get into playoffs, then start for challenging. And I feel as though perhaps some people that are not really bothered about Litton going are expecting you to sign someone that's going to get you straight into the playoffs. And that just doesn't always happen. And I think that's where your big mismatch comes. And when you're going to have to sign so many players, potentially if other players leave, they don't just gel overnight.
To me as well, the other problem is like it's replacing Litton, because I've lost track of all the various benefits there are for homegrown players and marquee players and how much comes off the cap and all this stuff. But
even ChatGPT got confused about that when I asked it the other day.
So let's say that the numbers I've heard are Wakey have given him 120. That's the number I've heard. So if we are offering that,
I'm glad if we're not offering him
because
I don't think he's at that level.
I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you right now, but in a better team, especially you've got to look at it long term, haven't you? My point being is, who are you going to get for the money that Wakey are offering that is as good or better than Lytton at the minute.
Well, that's not the question. The question is, if you wasn't willing to, he said, give me 80 and I'll stay. I don't know what he asked for, right?
I mean, that's conjecture still, isn't it?
But if you're only willing to pay that, what are you expecting to get that's better than Davy Lytton for his salary currently at your place, or even less?
I agree.
That's why I think it's a big mistake.
Because there's no way for Tarpe. Like I say, I've not seen loads of Catalan's games, so I'm going on third-hand accounts on how good he is.
He's been very, very good for
So, but I've heard good things, and obviously loads of people, as soon as they've said, like, oh, that sounds like a good signing. He's earning more than what Lytton's just gone to Wakey for.
Yeah. I don't think we were looking at Fatape to replace Lytton, though. I think we were looking at Fatape to replace Hardacre so that Hardacre could move in.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So
but like I say,
we would have still, even if we signed him, we'd still need to be looking for another.
But my point is obviously from a squad management, we've now got to find a Lytton quality centre who's not going to be homegrown, so won't play for necessarily less than he might be worth. And then we're also stuck in short-termism again of like, oh, we're not likely to go and sign a youngster from another club if we've just let a youngster go. So we're probably going to be dipping into either an overseas player or an experienced player. So again, what about injuries?
This is my big worry for you, that you're going to replace him with an ageing Aussie again, and then it'll be, I'm not saying they'll be injury prone, I know that's your usual hiring process, I'm not saying he will be, but all of a sudden there'll be so many question marks, and the moment that does go wrong, it'll be a case of how much have we paid this guy to come over to do this position when we let him go, and that it can fall down so easily. I think it's a calculated move. And from my point of view, I'm struggling to see how it can be a calculated move in a positive way. It doesn't seem very good business to me right now for where you're at as a club.
I guess we'll see. When we know what next season's squad's going to look like.
I don't necessarily. All that being said, I don't necessarily disagree with what you said. I.e., is Lytton worth that right now? But all it takes is one good season in a good Wakey side, and all of a sudden they're going to be sat there going, "Well, that was a steal."
Yeah, and I agree with what you said as well. I think, and I think I put it in the group earlier, I think in a better team, an already established team, like what Wakefield have managed to do this season and to point last season as well, I think he will thrive. A bit like what Cam Scott did. He instantly just looked like he was a better player because he was playing with better players. So I agree with what you're saying, but my worry for Lytton was and has been for a while, is he the type of player that can help drag us up, or is he the type of player that needs to be alongside better players to reach his potential? Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you get a player, like Price, for example. Price looks good regardless of who he's playing with because he seems like he's got that mentality, he's got that, he's a more physical, I don't want to diss on Lytton, but Price looks like a better athlete, if you get me. Like he'll grind because he's physically capable of doing it until Nsemba mashes his knee, and he just seems to have that mental thing that some players just don't have, and I just think Lytton for me is just not one of those players that's got it.
Again, don't necessarily disagree, but how hard to come by are those players?
Yeah, this is where I also think that some FC fans have an unrealistic expectation of what you need in your team, because yes, you can find them players, but what you should be doing is saying, how do we build so that we don't end up in the bottom 2 and 3 and we get close to the playoffs? And I don't think letting go a centre that's done so much for you and plays so well doesn't let you down really, to then try and have to replace him and then to go and see him walk. FC are making their decision, that's fine. Wakey must see something in him. They're currently second, challenging for top of the league, looking to go in the playoffs, trying to win something, and they see him as an able replacement for someone to let him go.
Sitting there next season.
No, Abel's playing centre for FC next season.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, one last question. Quick answers. It is a non-rugby related question. These are my favourite. Yes. Tom Reed, if you're having a barbecue, what are the must-have items, including seasonings?
So I've done a meat, a side, and a sauce.
I said quick answers.
I'm basic.
Well, go on.
Shall I just drag out a little bit more, or just to annoy him more? No, I've gone for Chinese belly pork.
Okay.
That's because it's just superb. Potato salad. Do like a bit of a potato salad on the side, and then brown sauce or barbecue sauce.
I agree with the first and the last, but potato salad, nah. It's not meat, it's not involved.
Not a big barbecue man. Just make sure there's a burger there with some cheese on. Make sure it's cooked well. Put in a bread bun. I'm done. And then if you're doing sausages / hot dogs, if it's hot dogs themselves, which you don't have some barbecue, but make sure there's some mustard. And I'm done.
Ooh, I like a bit of mustard.
Minted lamb burgers. And brown sauce. Not brown sauce on the minted
You're not
lamb
down for
burgers,
minted lamb?
but brown sauce
I'm
on
allergic to lamb.
brown sauce on other items like sausages and whatnot.
Yeah.
Just to take away the char.
I'm going to go for steak because I do love a barbecued steak. But one thing that none of you have mentioned, one thing that I missed drastically this Saturday just gone when we went for a barbecue at her mum and dad's house, Rachel's mum and dad's house, charcoal. I think people that barbecue on gas barbecues should be shot.
Fair.
End of. Done.
I did miss one out. Barbecued halloumi. Not tried it, try it.
Yeah.
If you have tried it, you'll know exactly what I'm on about.
Right, so as you can see at the bottom of the screen, if you are watching on YouTube, I'm going to touch on our monthly cause, which this month is Dove House Hospice on Chamberlain Road. We've been asked to mention this from one of our listeners, Mark, who is an avid listener. Mark sent us a message last week explaining why he wants us to promote this, and I think it's a great cause and a great place. He mentioned the care and attention that the hospice gave with his mum when they provided end-of-life care, not only to his mum but to the rest of the family as well. They were there to support everyone that was involved, and he quite rightly mentioned places like this are there's a type of place where you can't really appreciate what they do until you experience it, until you're in a position where you yourself or a member of your family need it. So yeah, we really want to push this one. I really want to do, and I can't speak for everyone, but I really want to push this one. Not because I've been exposed to it myself, but just reading Mark's story last week, it really touched me, and I think it'd be great if we could get people to support it. They are 90% funded by donations and only 10% funded by local NHS. So I think if we can get behind this one, it'd be fantastic. There is a QR code at the bottom of the screen right now, and there will be a link in the description on all platforms. So whether that's Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you go, there'll be a link for you to click or copy and paste if you wish. But yeah, if you can get behind the Dove House Hospice on Chamberlain Road this month, that would be fantastic, or any month. And if you can't get behind it financially, we completely understand, but if you can share the link or just mention it to friends or family, maybe they can get behind it or share it as well, because the more eyes that are on it, the more chance there is that someone else might be there to donate, because we appreciate that not everyone can or would like to. So yeah, that is our monthly cause for August.
Moving on to game previews then, a couple of minutes cross. Unfortunately for us, because it's going to be tough, we've got a few games coming up, and that means today we've got 2 games to preview, starting on this Thursday evening at home against Catalan Dragons.
Keep going the way we're going, keep doing the same processes, and we should come out with nothing but a win in this game. I don't think there's no disciplinary. There was only Jesse Sue, I think, who picked up, correct me here, 1 point.
1 point to take him to 5 points, no ban.
Just a fine. So
he's not going to feature anyways, potentially. Just keeping an eye on a foot injury. Yeah, it's much the same. Catalans have been very inconsistent this year. I think the biggest benefit for us coming up, and the reason we've got to preview both, is because we won't be able to do a preview of the Wire game as well before the next episode, because it'll be about happening when the next episode comes out. But focus on the Catalan game. don't underestimate them. We might do a bit of rotation. I've seen the squad news today. There's a few extra names in there. Be sensible to do that with 3 games coming up. But because all 3 are at home, all 3 winnable games, start with a Catalan game, start strong. Hopefully, he's in the squad. So Tavitai Pangai Jr. has served his ban now. He looks lean, mean, ready to go. It looks like he's really worked on his fitness in his time out. And he'll have a point to prove against his old club. So I'm hoping that maybe we'll see some good minutes there. And interestingly, I believe when I looked earlier, Desiree wasn't in this squad. So another one that we haven't heard any injury news, maybe just being held back for the Wire game coming and so on. So we might be finally starting to see that. And there are a few young names sprinkled in as well. It's also our last game without Mikey. Rocky, he's done a great job. He has done well. He's really stepped up. And yeah, I'm hoping for nice big crowd on Thursday night. Nice warm night should be. We're still in this, summer blaze, aren't we?
Best part 31 degrees on Thursday, so...
Go out, dominate, get the win, and then rest up and recoup and get ready for the Wire game on Tuesday night.
Tuesday, yeah, Jesus. Something came out of it about Bear just slamming the schedule, but Illa knew what...
I mean, he agreed to it earlier in the year, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He must have had to agree to it. They can't just...
It's proper sensational. Bear just doesn't slam anything. He just repeatedly makes the same points saying, it is what it is, but it's not great. And he's always been one for player welfare, Burgess, I will give him that. Although last year, when he did ping us for... Was he pinged or you guys he pinged? He pinged Hull, didn't he, last year, for not putting the name in the squad sheet properly, and you had to play without an 18th man.
He wouldn't let your 18th man play, would he?
Because you didn't register the name in time for the officials, something like
rings
that.
about
I think it was the other way around.
Or you wouldn't let them do it.
It was
or
Myler didn't let them, and then he started kicking off at Myler in the
Oh,
training.
so then he is
but
obviously
quite rightly what Myler said is it's not my job to mix the rules. If you want to cock it up and the RFL say no, then
you are right though. He is big on player welfare.
The point being is though, I get all his points, I get all his conversation. He agreed to it earlier in the year. Loads of people online giving great suggestions. Always the same one. World Club Challenge should be after the season because you get the same teams. We get that. There should be 15 teams in Super League, and then everyone gets a bye week, and that can be that club's bye week when it happens. The number one best suggestion, the best thing that I read about was he wouldn't be whining about it if it was his club that had to play in the World Club Challenge, would he?
No, true. I just want to go back. I was real confused. I thought it was on about Budgie. When you were talking about Burgess, I was like, what? What are you on about? Like, why is your winger kicking off? Like,
he's just not happy. He's manking, he?
Yeah, well,
he's not happy.
Another fight with Minchella.
I think in this 3-game period, though, just to turn to our preview, in this 3-game period, the Wire game will be the toughest one. No disrespect to Catalan and Toulouse. Now, having said that, Toulouse might have Ollie Ashwell back by then. I don't know if he's fit by then or not, but the thing is that it'll be the toughest game. It's on Tuesday night. They've got to travel. They probably won't bring many fans because it's a Tuesday night. That's going to be tough. And I hope we can get 3 wins from 3. But talking about these 2 specifically, TPJ back for the Catalans game. He's got a point to prove not only to us fans, but also to his future employer because he hasn't got a contract with us.
And to himself.
And to himself that he's here to play rugby and he's here for the right reasons. And then,
is he definitely not staying with you next year, or is he?
He's on a, from what I understand, he's on a play and prove it deal that ends at the end of this season. And obviously it's not, he's impressing Willie Peters and the backroom staff, and he's got Peters' review at the end of the season to go, but he's also got to be impressing incoming Nathan Kalis.
For you guys, obviously he's kind of scuppered, he's not scuppered his chances, he's put a big dent in his chances of getting another contract, although I did think he was offering you something different that not a lot of your other forwards do. What would he have to do for the remainder of the season for you guys to actually warrant you offering him a deal? Because it's arguably a position you're a little bit weak in, if anything, up prop.
Be consistent. Be consistently a 7 or an 8 out of 10 performer, as Josh likes to mention most weeks. Like, be up there.
Yeah.
Don't do anything where you can give fans any reason to say, well, that wasn't very good.
Like what he got banned for.
Basically, yeah. Whereas if you can turn around and go, he hasn't put a foot wrong. He's carried hard. He's tackled well. He's done a couple of offloads. I can see him as a squad player next season. You know, that's what he's got to do. He's got to prove himself.
Can't believe we're talking about a player that played Origin within the last 3-4 years
as
a squad player in the Super League.
But
I agree with your points,
his career path is how it's took.
Yeah, that's what happens sometimes. Your career changes and it has curves in the road. But I agree with your points. To answer the question from our point of view, Abel, Yeah, he's just got to perform. But I think the other thing as well is we discussed this a little bit off pod over the weekend about you feeling as though we're perhaps a bit weak in our forwards. And at first I was a bit remiss to agree with you. You know, Tom Amon's been an absolute beast playing at prop. But then Sue's had his up and downs this year. I've got other theories about which players may or may not be staying with us for next year, regardless of contract situation. And because of that, I believe he would be a great sort of addition to our squad if he can perform like he showed he did, apart from the one stupid mistake. So yeah, just go out there, do his best. On the flip side of that, we move to the wire game, and for me, there is a prove it by Mikey Lewis. What I would say on that is I would say there's less pressure on Mikey. We know that Mikey's a game winner, we know what he can do. He has to prove his maturity more than anything else. But every single time he's made a stupid mistake, every time he's had a ban, every time he's done something silly, Mikey has come back, backed it up and proven it. And I don't care what you say. Rocky's done a great job for us. The team's done well in his absence, but we are a different beast when Mikey Lewis is at his best. And with the way Tyrone May's been playing as well, when they're both on song, we are very, very tough to play against. And so I'd like to see him come and have a very settled game, you know, against Wire, the team that he got his ban against, you know, always a funny coincidence in rugby league, isn't he? Just get himself back into match fitness and on song. And hopefully we come out with these 2 games with 2 wins, and then we focus on the Toulouse game.
Yeah, pretty much. That sums pretty much everything up, really, doesn't it? Like, benefit of all 3 being at home.
Absolutely.
We've got a massive chance to, because our players are going to be flagging by the end of the Warrington game. You know, 2 games in, what, effectively 4 days, is it?
Like I say, at least you're not travelling between the matches.
At
least you can maximise your recovery as much as
absolutely,
possible.
And it's down to the fans as well, from my point of view, to get behind the players and give them that little bit of a boost, if you will.
Right, our game then.
A small amount of confidence going into a game, perhaps.
I want nothing less than 44-0.
Oh, you play him twice?
No, I'm kidding. I think it's a bit of one in it. It's like either the way that you did them last week is either going to knock the confidence even further, or it's going to give them a reason to bite back. I think with the way that they've been for the majority of the year, I'm leaning more towards the former than the latter. And I'd like to hope that we can build on last week, although we've not done that in any of our victories this year so far. And try and not necessarily put them to the sword in the way that Rovers did, but put them to the sword in terms of the best that we can with the team that we've got.
Yeah. I mean, I think based on the performance from based on the performance against Rovers from Cass, I think if we perform like we did against Saints, I think that's enough to win.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't really necessarily care at this point on how many points by or whatever, but I think that if we perform like we did against Saints, we should win. Mm-hmm. The problem is obviously doing that because we've not played like that very many times. That's the first time we've played like that in about a month and a half. Yeah. So
bit of disruption as well with the squad. A couple of changes that should be coming in, whether you view it as disruption or positive. With Liggy and Lasoni being back fit and available.
Fit.
Well, I can't judge that.
You never know till they're out there.
Yeah. I just mean, are they literally just passed like the medical? They had a couple of weeks extra training to sort of try and build up to.
I definitely, like I said last week, I went to watch them train about a month ago now, and Liggy was training what looked like full contact with the rest of the team. That was then. I don't remember seeing Lasoni. I wasn't really paying much attention to whether he was there or not, but I did notice Liggy. So hopefully at least one of them is back and ready to go. And I know that Liggy's been training with Pangai Jr. to get fit. And if Pangai Jr. is in the state that he's in the positive state that he's in, you'd like to think that Liggy's going to be somewhere similar as well.
That's obviously Wood's gone back to Warrington and for obviously their like 3-game period as well, so they're going to want all hands on deck.
Yeah, that makes sense from them as well. You know, why would you not? You've got a player that's fit, you've got a player that's Super League ready, did a good job for us last week, did a good job for us in that month that he was with us before as well, and they've got 3 games in 10 days, you're going to take him back. So,
I mean, thinking about that, then my only minor concern is the amount of minutes at prop that we've got then. Because obviously you've got SASA who's not been doing huge minutes still, whether or not that's enforced or not. You've then potentially got 2 props coming back in. Salabio don't do big minutes normally. So you've literally got one workhorse prop, for lack of a better word, in Hill, and that's it. All of a sudden, if obviously if you've got Lissoni and Sal back in the 17 for the game.
I mean, from a fitness perspective, we have still got Aiden around who can do minutes.
He's injured, isn't he?
He's also, Aiden's gone for the end of the season.
Sorry, bloody hell, forgot about that.
Like say you've literally gone from
Cut that bit out.
so you've literally got like almost 3 or 4 impact props.
Yeah.
And Hill as your selection, which is a bit weird.
And I think it's a really fair point to call it. I think there's 3 questions that really come into this game for you. The first one's redundant. It's 2-part. It's which Cas team turns up and which FC team turns up. 2 very inconsistent teams.
Yep.
We won't know, but it's redundant. But the 2 questions on selection for me are the question mark over Davy Litton now. Is he going to play? It was meant to be a minor ankle tweak. Now he's leaving. What happens with him? I think that's a big question because then that gives you more issues to deal with.
I think he'll play.
I believe so.
Based on what you've got available, basically.
Because he's not going to not play.
I'm confident he'll play.
Yep. And then I think that the second and the real question for me is, and it's not a dig even though it sounds like one is, one of the big reasons that you managed to get over a poor start last week and mistakes last week is your forwards doing well. Burrow and Hill was not on the wrong side of the line in the aggression. I only saw one incident from Hill that wasn't worth mentioning right towards the end of the game that I thought was a bit naughty. The vast majority of that game, for most of it really, the pair of them behaved themselves, particularly Hill, who I've got my gripes with. If they're going to not do that, and you haven't got strong people to replace them, if they're at risk for a sin bin in, or they're going to do big minutes and then start getting lazy or getting a bit aggressive because they're tired, then you can see yourself falling down, and Cas can snip chances at that. And that's what you want to be focusing on. And that's why I think your point about forwards is very prudent. That's a big worry.
Yeah, the good thing is, at least, say, based on the last few weeks, obviously, it was Bell's best performance I'd personally seen from memory against Saints. And then Batchelor and O'Neill both turned in like the classic 7-8 workhorse performance. Didn't do a whole lot wrong. Did lots of good stuff right without sort of tearing trees up.
To be fair, I think they both performed well. The only 2 that performed well against Huddersfield as well. I think they've both been standing up as sort of, this is the level you need to hit. If you can't play as well as us, then there's something wrong.
Leading by example.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
So, like I said, maybe that can cover for the lack of minutes if it does end up being a thing. But like I say, it all comes down to which Cas turn up.
I think
that Cas turns against Rovers. I think we win. I don't think we're going to beat them by 40 points, but I'd expect to win the game.
30.
I don't think Cas, looking at the last few weeks and speaking to a few of their fans last week, I don't think they've got anything to worry you this week. Your only worry is yourselves. If you turn in a poor first 20 minutes when they come out all guns blazing, you could find yourself 18-0 down. Because they will score points in the first half. It's what they've done in previous weeks, apart from our game. So if you turn in that sort of poor performance that you seem to be unimmune to putting in, that's where you might have a worry. But for me, Castleford don't have enough to worry.
Can't say much more than that.
No.
Looking forward to seeing how Liggy goes. Looking forward to seeing, as you mentioned, the fitness and physique maybe of Lissoni. See if he's managed to put some effort in. He had an upper limb injury. There's, in my opinion, no reason why he can't still be training hard and getting fit.
I saw him outside before the derby when I was with Dean, just before the Humberside schedule, and he did not look like he'd been looking after himself.
Great, thanks.
On that note,
cut.
You got to say it's Craig's time to shine.
It's Craig's time to shine.
Thank you. So last week then, gold cap went to Dorse 85, who was Sean Dawson, scoring 10.5. So back into double figures.
Good effort. He got a lot of bonus points.
Yeah, there was a lot of red on his bar graph. That you get bar graph. Is it a bar graph? Never mind.
Whatever it is.
And Lacton 95, who's Lorna Acton, scored 3 points. Took the wooden spoon this week.
You weren't far off, or was you?
I was 5.5. Josh wasn't far off.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Josh.
But there is, as Josh likes to say, a caveat to this.
Yeah, because Josh didn't know how to use the app.
Yeah, Josh, who put us onto the app, who uses it for the NFL, I believe it was, did you say?
Yeah, use it for a few things, golf and all
few
sorts.
things,
Yeah.
golf and everything.
F1.
Accidentally went against Warrington.
I had to check the episode back to hear myself say, why by 20? Because when I looked at the results on Saturday evening and it said, you have backed Bradford by 20. So, human, user error.
Error.
The fact that I scored poorly, it would have been, I think, another point and a half. I don't know what they won by then. But yeah, it's my own fault, hold my hands up, but it hasn't helped me in the league, obviously.
I can't wait until the end of the year when there's like 0.75 between you two, and then there's a big argument as to whether we should give you a point.
What I would say is that...
But I didn't get them last year when I missed out results.
Craig, and I think you've missed one or two this year.
And I have missed a few.
So
this year,
it all happens.
All right, fair
It's usually Thursday night games, because
Yeah.
usually I forget to do them. But anyways, that's by the by.
Yeah.
So, producer standings or presenter standings. Susan, 137.75, leads away from Dean, who's on 131.75. Jimmy's still in third, 120.66. Very random amount.
Yep.
Myself on 114.5 and Josh on 112.75. So 1.75 in it. That can change in
I still
match,
believe
so.
any one of the five of us can finish bottom and any one of the five can finish top
Yeah, because you got
That's how easy it
you
is
got the
to-
bonus points in the
in this
end
playoffs.
rounds.
Look, the
and
thing is, as a
playoffs.
back nine player, it don't mean I don't make a bogey every now and again. Yeah.
You made a couple of double bogeys this week.
Anyway, so on to this week then. Started off 3 games on Thursday night for some reason. 3. Hull KR versus Catalan. I have Rovers by 20. Dean has Rovers by 24. And Susan has Rovers by 18.
Rovers by 14.
Rovers 18.
We've got Rovers by 30.
Second of the Thursday night games. Leeds versus Lee. I think this might be quite a tight game. I've got Leeds by 6. Dean has Leeds by 13. And Susan has Leeds by 10.
I've got Leeds by 10.
Lee by 4.
Lee.
It doesn't matter to him, does it?
No,
He's not
fair
in the
enough.
league.
No, I was just clarifying because it's similar, isn't it? I've got Leeds by 10.
Fair dues. Warrington versus York. I have Warrington by 14. Dean has Warrington by 22. And Susan has Warrington by 8.
Warrington by 18.
Warrington 16.
I've got Warrington by 8.
Hull FC versus Cass. I have Hull by 18. Dean's a 10 cut.
He ain't got Cass.
Castleford by 4.
Wow.
And Susan has Hull by 10.
Dean has said he won't be back in FC again this season. And he did say
He's
that.
sticking by it.
And he's
fair
sticking
play.
by it.
Fair enough.
I've got FC by 16.
FC 14.
I've got FC by 10.
All relatively close,
Yeah.
apart from Dean. Wakefield versus St Helens. I've got Wakefield by 16. Dean's got Wakefield by 14, and so has Susan.
Wakey by 20.
Wiki by 24.
Got Wakefield by 12.
Bradford versus Wigan. I've got Wigan by 14. Dean's got Wigan by 22, and Susan's got Wigan by 18.
Wigan by 32.
Yeah, Wigan by 40.
Wow.
Why not?
At Bradford.
They're down to the bare bones.
Well, yeah, all
They
right.
were knackered against Rovers and they got another 3 or 4 injuries and then they've played another game since.
Yeah, but like playing at Bradford's like the opposite of playing at altitude, innit? It's like playing like but no ground.
Right, okay.
So
Does it
it's
heal
the extra oxygen that they get's quite.
Does
Does
it
that help
improve
with
the
injured
healing
players?
process?
I don't know. Yeah, I've got Wigan by 20.
Fair dues. Toulouse versus Huddersfield. I've got Toulouse by 16. Dean's got them by 4, and Susan's got them by 8.
I've got Toulouse by 8.
Toulouse 4.
I've got Huddersfield by 7.
I did change it. I
Factor
did
in
have.
that Huddersfield have won the last 3, Toulouse have lost the last 3.
I-
So that was
Did have.
That means the Juice will do the opposite.
Shut
Then,
up.
Yeah, I did have Toulouse by 16, but I have changed it.
It's
to
Toulouse
just-
at home that swung it that way for me.
Yeah.
But I think, for me, because that's that 4 weeks games, probably the 2 hardest ones to call are Toulouse and Giants. And then I actually think, all jokes aside, it's probably you and Cass because we don't know who'll turn up.
Is there any news on Bot? Because obviously he's been a big miss since.
Not back yet, I don't think. Possibly for our game, but.
yeah. So I've made the right choice. And if Ashall Bot's not playing, they're not winning.
Do you reckon?
The Dewsbury Giants will win.
Huddersfield Rams beat me to it. So then, as we've discussed, there is an extra game this week due to all of Hull KR's misdemeanours earlier on in the season. Hull KR versus Warrington. I've got Rovers by 4. I think it'll be close. Dean's got Rovers by 2 and Susan's got us by 8.
I've got Rovers by 10.
Rovers by 4.
I've got Rovers by 18. I think you're going to handle it a lot better, especially with the fact that you're not travelling.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I read a comment the other day that was, is Burgess going to put out all the youngsters for this week's game ahead of the Rovers game? And the response was, we're already pretty much playing them anyways because of the injuries we've got.
Yeah, they have got a fair few youngsters.
I think that it depends on which way you manage a situation like this. Do you go all guns out, go against York, rack up a big score, get a massive points difference on the board, and then do you maybe rest a few against us, save players for the third game? Or do you think, no, I've got a point to prove and I need to fight someone that's close to us in the league? You know, it's a massive game in terms of it's the extra game that we both got to play, so that we're all at the same standings. So there's no caveats for the rest of the year of game in hand, game in hand.
Well, they won't need to rest them because they're third games Huddersfield.
Huddersfield will be 4 in a row by then when they beat Toulouse.
Exactly.
So yeah, but I think there's some good rugby this week. It's just a shame that they don't be sensible, and we've only got something ridiculous like 2 Sunday games left for the rest of the year.
You've got
They're all
Saturday game
crammed
coming
into
up
Thursday,
against
Friday,
Warrington.
Saturday.
Yeah, we play Warrington on a Saturday on the 29th.
Yeah, because we've got Wigan on the Thursday, the 27th. So.
Yeah. Oh well, that's it for this week. Yeah, thanks again to Comscath for being our main sponsor and to Tribal for being our home. I will just say, if you are watching, different background. They are installing the new screen in the main area, so we didn't want the workers in the background. But we are eager to know, what do you think? Should we keep this? Should we go back there? We'll make a decision either way ourselves, but it'd be nice to know what you want, even if we don't give you it. But yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hype on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, you can do it 3 times a week, so do it 3 times a week for us, because we really appreciate you as fans and viewers. From me...
They're not going to sleep with you.
Don't want that. I like being in a bed on my own, mate. I'm not down for sharing anything. Like, nah. Anyway, from me, that's it. See you, bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.
Down, 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 down.